What's going on, guys? It's Far, TK, J, Steph, Pete. You see us 5, you know what it is. It's the Mad Good Knicks show. Yeah. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We're all over. We're talking a lot this offseason because there's a lot to discuss. This episode in particular, guys, I want to talk a little bit about the downsides. What are you concerned about so far with this Knicks team? There's been a lot of positivity, only because we started like here, and now we're like here. That's still progress. I still want to talk about some of the concerns. And then all of us did have season predictions. So towards the end of this episode, we're going to get to them and see how you guys feel almost completed with the preseason. So I'll start with my biggest concern. We still don't have a point guard.
We were talking about it. Emmanuel Mudiay started the other game.
I'm sorry, guys. I was waiting to hear this one. I was like, what has he got to say?
Man.
Let's ease up off Mudiay. I couldn't help myself.
I think it's concerning. I don't know if Trey Burke is actually like holding himself back to an extent. I don't know if Fizz went in his ear and was like, "Yo, you're probably gonna end up starting." The Frank Ntilikina situation, like, I know we still got to give the kid time, but it is starting to get a little frustrating, even for me, and I'm a big Frank fan. And I'm not seeing that progress from the offensive side that I hope to see, that I hope to have seen, even with the size that he's put on and the mass and the how much he's grown. I don't even know if he's a point guard anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, it's Trey Burke and Emmanuel Mudiay who are the actual true point guards on our depth chart right now.
Yo, for sure.
That's just my concern. You guys can give other concerns.
Oh, I have plenty.
All right, great.
So as far as the Trey Burke thing goes, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say he's holding himself back here because Trey Burke's a professional scorer, and we haven't seen him necessarily exert himself during the preseason. So maybe Fizdale's been in his ear, like you said. Yeah, you're going to be the starter. You know,
can I ask one question to that point, though?
What?
If we start Trey Burke, are you comfortable with the backcourt of Trey Burke and THJ and then Kevin Knox playing defense?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What's the choice you have?
Yeah, well,
that's
what are we going to start?
I don't know,
Frank,
man.
and like,
I don't
worry
know.
about defense, but can't put the ball in the hole? No.
I don't know, but
Anyway, on to that, and then Frank. What is concerning about this, it's not a team thing, but it's a Frank thing. We haven't seen him be a point guard this preseason. We haven't seen him play the primary ball handler position. There's been certain parts of the game where, you know, he's led the primary guard and brought it across half court, then dished it off. But we haven't seen him in that prototypical point guard role. That's kind of scaring me.
I think it was the second half of game 1 where he did come out as point guard, but there was one other guard. There was one other guard, and there was another time where he was on the court with 2 other point guards.
Right. He got pressed.
And he ended up playing small forward or something.
It got really weird. So, you know, great job on Fizdale's part, because what he did coming into this gig and coming into the season was he disarmed us all. He told us he likes to play positionless basketball. So whereas all these questions about what position is he going to play, we're not really necessarily worried about that because it's positionless basketball. So, you know, Frank is a combo guard now, and sometimes he even plays the 3. But to me, that's still very concerning because we drafted him as a point guard, and I haven't seen much improvement in his ball handling. Doesn't look like he can get to the basket very well. So,
trade him, I know.
So I have to say,
not just yet.
just for clarity and transparency, Courtney Lee.
Yeah, that's.
And I like the guy. It's not even you know, anything disrespectful. I like Courtney Lee, but where does he fit?
Yeah.
Again, transparency. And then my only true concern in terms of active players, I'm not ringing the alarm. I'm not really seeing anything super about Mario yet.
Yeah.
Just saying, putting it out there.
He killed it in open practice. But like,
cool, that's practice.
But like, I knew that's the main thing. People are getting very hyped about. I'm like, I'm not seeing the same thing.
Like, I see him trying.
Yeah, you
don't get me wrong, it's not an effort thing. I don't know if it's a rhythm thing. I don't know what it is yet. That's why I said I'm not ringing the alarm because I need to see more.
Not often do I say this. Made some good points, Jay.
Yeah, you really did.
At his best, Hezonja was averaging 10 points a season in 22 minutes of action in Orlando.
He had that one stretch where he was like 17 a game.
Towards the end of the season.
Yeah, towards the end.
But, you know,
I haven't seen that.
like that's what we want, but I'll settle for 10 points a game if then it gets to 17. You know, I'll settle. I'll wait it out.
Do you think he's pressing a little bit? Because he's really anxious to be here. He really wanted to be here. Do you think he's kind of just forcing the action just a little bit?
To some degree.
Because he has been a little turnover prone. He's doing a little too much
preseason,
dribbling.
I just think in the preseason, you're not really getting a good sample of the actual type of basketball we're going to be playing against other teams. Because in the preseason, you're kind of trying to figure out what your team is going to be. So you might be trying things you might not necessarily try. And then in the season is kind of like you play that out. So Hezonja might have a kind of a different role than he has in the preseason.
Say it again. What's his name?
Hezonja. Mario Hezonja.
So you take that home, guys. Take that for data.
Hezonja.
So what I was gonna say is actually very similar to Jay. My biggest concern are the role players on our team. So for example, like Hezonja, Hicks, Vonleh, Ron Baker, Dotson. I think that role players really thrive with a team that is complete and has chemistry within itself. So the fact that we have a lot of new players coming up, I think our role players, their performance is dependent on how well our main unit can get together and really have that chemistry, because I think role players thrive off with other players. So I'm concerned about, you know, if we are able to develop that chemistry throughout the season, then I have no problems with them. But if, you know, if midway through the season, if KP comes back and that messes up the rotation, I can't really see Hezonja and Vonleh and Hicks really being those go-to scorers, those guys that can really, you know, thrive in those scenarios. So that's kind of my biggest concern. I'd say the role players and how they'll develop throughout the season.
Nice. Did you have formal concerns?
I did, yeah.
All right.
So
take out my Giants.
I'm not gonna repeat what you said about a point guard, because that's been kind of what we've been wanting forever. I'll just mention when we do get a point guard, I'll bring it up. I could even argue that we don't really have a shooting guard, like for real, like a full backcourt, like
Really?
Really?
THJ? Yes, but like he's got to be more consistent. All right, but like all right, fine.
Now you're just like beggars can't be choosers here. Like you want a superstar point?
I'm gonna backpedal on that one real quick. The defense is another thing that we all know, so I'm not even gonna mention that as a concern. That's always a concern. But for me,
we don't have a head coach.
Shooting.
Fisner, I'm gonna just backtrack on that one too.
Hold on. I'm tired of Phil Jackson. Like, no, wait. Hold on.
Did the Rangers season start yet?
Alright, man. Get your concerns out.
We have no shooting. We have no shooting. We have no shooters.
That's
we have no 3-point shooting. We have no go-to, like, this guy is a lights-out shooter. I know THJ can shoot the ball.
That's true. We don't have that.
We're down to it. We need a 3 on the road. Who are we going to?
KP.
Yeah, but
we're on a roll tonight, guys.
That's what I'm saying. Like
a 7'3" guy, we're going to for a 3-point shot.
Yeah.
KP, get up off the bench.
Are you good enough just to stand there and shoot?
What are you gonna do? Just stand?
We're gonna have to put like, Luke Cornett. You're gonna be injured. You're gonna be in the injured, and KP's just gonna be in the rotation even though he can't play.
Oh my God.
Just for the spot. But what I'm saying is like shooting. We didn't improve at shooting. I know we got Trey Burke, we got Alonzo Trier. All these guys are good scorers. THJ is sort of like a prototypical scorer. Like sometimes he can go off, but he's not a shooter. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
So for me, that's.
When was our last pure shooter then? Steve
Novak.
That was it. He's such a specialty in like the game today.
Courtney Lee was supposed to be that for us, but I don't know.
What I'm saying is like we're gonna have stretches where our spacing and our ball movement is not going to be enough. We're going to have situations where I think teams are going to put us in situations where we're going to be like, if we had a good shooter right now, that would like fix this problem. Yeah. That's my prediction during the season, where we're going to get.
That's like, if we had like LeBron James right now,
I know. Can you imagine? Like all the teammates coming out of a timeout. If you were really just Kobe Bryant, and not pass it.
But even if we had LeBron,
Pete, I agree with you.
I
agree with you. In the current state of the NBA, we need to surround our players with shooters.
If we play Houston, or we play a decent three-point shooting team, and they go on a run, Like, who are we going to rely on to be like, all right, this guy's gonna go off and just score 12 quick points for us in this quarter.
Knox has shown like hints of that, so I think he'll eventually develop into that. But
Knox's
yeah, as of right now,
not a pure shooter right now. It is a little bit raw, his form.
Yeah,
I can see him developing it, but
he's the type that catches fire, especially from 3. Yeah. Like I think we've seen that, and I think it will happen. All right, good points aside from the ones that weren't.
Just shooting. That's my concern. But I want to say, like, in addition to all this, I 100% agree with everything you guys said.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
So I'll wrap it up before we get to the records.
Before we get to that.
Before we get to that,
I think this is one of the rare occasions where all 5 of us agree on one thing, and I think we've done that consistently throughout. And I think the culture is not only changing for the Knicks. The culture may be changing for the show as well.
Here.
We may have a lot of agreements going on.
I feel personally disrespected that you compare us to the Knicks culture.
All right, one disagreement. All right, we just threw it out the window.
I feel attacked. I will say this though: the hype surrounding the Knicks right now is great. I have a really like weird feeling that we're gonna end up on that same train that we've taken. A little bit less dysfunction, where we start off hot, Christmas comes around, and then it's just.
Yeah, but I think the reason why will be different, and I think we'll be okay.
I agree with that point.
So and we're getting too hyped back then.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, I hope not.
You don't think so by January?
We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get to the records. Let's get to the records real quick. So, TK, we'll start with you. You said 30. You said 38 and 44. You still stick with that?
I do.
How?
Are you gonna let me finish?
Yeah, get it off your chest.
I know it's really close to 500, but I think we'll be, and this is obviously up for grabs here, but I think we'll be in a lot of games, and a lot of close games at that. I don't think we'll be in many games where we get blown out, per se. There may be a few, but I don't think we'll get blown out like we did last year in a lot of games, winnable games too, at that. So I think they can go either way. We'll be in a lot of 50-50 games. So there will be times where we do pull off a win, especially at home. I think we'll do a better job this year of defending home court. So I do think a 38 and 44 record is a little bit more reasonable. But
I think we'll start off defending home, and then again, I think we're going to get back to some of those weird Nick things that we always do. Pete, 40 and 42.
40-42. It's starting to feel a little optimistic at this point in the season, but I'm going to stick with it just because. I don't know.
That's under the assumption that KP's back, or what?
Yeah, that's under the assumption that KP's back for the second half of the season, and then since he's playing the second half, maybe that's when he has his high energy and we actually make use of it. But
that might be the one thing that counters our like weird second half woes.
Yeah, it could be. It could be just like a happy accident for us. I mean, I just hope he's well. But I want to say, like, what you tying in together the culture change that we were talking about, and you saying that we might win more close games. I think the key to that is the third quarter. That's always been our Achilles heel.
And that's been a huge topic of discussion.
Now that we have David Fizdale, I expect the third quarter to be different, and then that might tie into winning more games, close games. So I think that's yeah, exactly.
And in the past three preseason games, we've dominated the third quarter. We've outscored teams by plus 12 in the third quarter since then. So that's huge, man. I don't know how you do that. Oh, quick question. I also want to touch on what you said, because 40-42, man, in the East.
That's like good for the second seed.
Yeah, that's borderline playoffs. Are we pushing for a playoff?
I think 40 and 42 gets us in the playoffs.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm not even joking about the seed either. I think like it would probably be like a 6th seed in the East.
Do you think we make the playoffs?
I think the East doesn't change much this season. I think maybe Cleveland is probably going to be lower than they were last year. I don't think they're going to drop out. They might like Toronto will still be on top. Boston, Philly is all going to be there. I think we compete for that like 8th seed for sure.
So by the time KP comes back, we'll be running for a playoff push?
I think
that'd be dope.
I think we could be a better team than the Washington Wizards.
Ooh.
Nice. I think we should be a better team than the Washington.
Jay, 32 and 50.
Yep.
You got 50 losses chalked up for the Knicks.
Yep.
Still stand by.
Yep.
All right, cool.
So this season is going to be a learning experience for a lot of these rookies. I fully think that's going to be the case. I don't know how you guys really think we have the capability of going to the playoffs when everyone here is going to be learning the game, learning the pace of it, and again, everyone's going to be adapting their game.
You know why I think that,
to the scouting tape.
You know why? Why? Because usually everything you say is wrong. So I'm going to go with the opposite.
No, stretch provision. He called it 2 years ago.
Did we stretch him yet? All right. So until further notice, he is
Steph and I agreed on 33 and 49 separately, so I assume we each had our own reasons.
Yeah, bro. I totally think I stick by it only because every other year I've been optimistic and I've been disappointed. So I'm sticking with low expectations, and then if we end up doing better and even hopefully making the playoffs, it'll be insane. So yeah, I guess sticking with it. I think the real thing that'll make a difference is if we can close out those close games, and I think, you know, we might have a little trouble there, but we might not. So
yeah, my 33 and 49 is looking a little optimistic to me. I think we're probably gonna end up in, I honestly think we're probably
that's the J train, basically game off.
I think we're probably going to be in the 25 to 28 win range.
Oh my God!
What? I think
I'll tell you why.
Sneeze and win 25 games.
Oh, wow, really? All right, so I'll tell you why. I think, like, honestly, we'll probably knock off a good amount of wins the first half of the season, as we always do, carrying this New York hype, and then everything's going to catch up with us. I think we're still going to be in a lot of close games. I don't think we're going to come close to winning some of those close games. I think we'll pull off.
We're going to come close to winning?
Not the whole season through. I think the first half of the season we'll probably end up winning some of these close games. Look like, oh my God, the Knicks are turning around, and then the NBA will catch up to the New York Knicks, as it always does. That doesn't mean the culture hasn't changed. That just means we don't have KP for the whole season. Still a big question mark. I'm not convinced that he's going to come back at Christmas time.
So
even
25
if
wins?
I'm around that 25-28 win range. Yeah.
Okay, so when we pass that, what are you doing for our fans? When we pass 25 to 28 wins, what are you going to tell our
What do
fans?
you do when we don't have 38 wins? This is a show. I'm making predictions. This ain't fucking recess to... like, what are you...
25
what is
to
this?
28.
What are you doing for fans if you're wrong? Like, it's a show. I'm giving my thoughts and predictions, bro.
Listen, but you got to back up your thoughts and predictions
I just
with
did.
something.
I just said it.
I mean, Hugh Jackson said if we don't win a game last season, he's jumping in the river. He jumped in the river. They didn't win.
Who the hell's Hugh Jackson?
He's the coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, okay.
Off topic. But anyway, Pete, like, the worst team in the NBA last year won, like, 25 games. You really think we'll be the worst team in the league?
The Kings?
I mean, I don't think we'll be far off from it.
From one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, because I still think there's going to be a lot of bad teams in the league.
But 25
Last year we were what? 5 to 6 games away from being the worst
We won more
team in
than
the league?
25 games when we had, like, Travis Ware.
That I know.
You think
we had such a hot
Disrespecting
start
everybody
last year too.
on the team. Okay.
But there's like a lot, as like fucking unbalanced as the NBA is made out to be.
Yeah.
I don't think it's unbalanced. I think it's just like the playoff series always pick the better team. But I think like there's way more good teams now.
Yeah.
Like when you were just watching the off-season moves and stuff. There's a lot of good teams out there. When you start paying attention, you're like, damn, Philly's good, Boston's good, Cleveland's good, Toronto's still good.
I think it's top heavy, man.
Like, we're not talking like championship good, but compared to us and like fighting, like if we're in that pool fighting for a playoff spot amongst those teams, you gotta say those teams are good and they're better than us.
Okay, but you guys remember?
But I still think
we're
gonna be better. We have to be better than we were last year.
But you guys gotta understand this much. The record won't indicate that. I think we're gonna be in a lot of close games. We don't have a finisher. You just said it. We don't have a shooter.
So don't ask me for my
games.
record prediction if it's not gonna dictate how well they're doing.
It should be realistic.
I'm joking. It is realistic. But
How?
all jokes aside,
I think we're going to be in a lot of close games. I think there will be a culture change. Do I think that's going to be indicative of our record? No.
Okay, great. So here's the deal, man. I think the Knicks are at the point where, you know how when we were a lot more talented than a lot of teams and we would still find a way to lose? I think the Knicks are those teams that may not necessarily have all the talent, but play hard and sneak and win a couple of those games against teams that are a little bit more superior than they are. Mm-hmm. I think we have a chance to beat a San Antonio Spurs team on the road this season. I think we can sneak attack a Boston Celtics team at home.
But
I think we can
you
do
know what
these
you're counting.
things. You know what I mean?
This is what you're counting on them is to do what the Nets did the other night, and that's they lost the game instead of us truly winning the game. We took advantage of certain points where they
No,
played
I think we
sloppy.
won that game though.
Bro, they played sloppy. They came out fucking gunning that game. Like the way they started that game is to in a way demoralize if they had that consistency. Again, that's preseason. He continued to say, we do not have someone that can go on a stretch for us in terms of scoring.
Yes, we do.
They're
just not proven.
They're not, and I don't expect
They're
them to
rookies.
do
We
this.
haven't seen it yet, but they have the
Bro,
ability
they're
to
putting
do
out
so.
a lot
They have the
of these
ability.
rookies' backs.
Okay, Okay, what are you talking about here? Are you talking about consistency, like reference, or are you talking about the ability? Because there's players on this team that have the ability to go on hot
And
streaks.
as Cantor has the ability now to shoot threes, doesn't mean he's going to go out there consistently shoot threes and now be a, you know what I mean?
But
the
he has
stretch
the ability
big.
to do so.
Everyone has. I have the ability to
You
still
don't
play
have the
something.
ability
You know
to
what I
do
mean? Like
shit.
everyone has the ability for
You
everything.
do not have the
if you
ability
want to go
do
that
so.
route.
That's a fucking stretch, Jay.
Like I don't know
And
what
don't
argument
embarrass
you're
yourself on
making.
camera
No,
by
no,
saying
but
you have
what
the
argument
ability
are you making
to
by
play in
the
the
ability
NBA.
to do something? All
Not
these
all
people.
players have the ability to do certain things. How is that? Why do I even have to defend that argument?
They have the ability, but it's a matter of if it's going to
Yeah.
come to fruition
But
through,
that's what we're
through
discussing.
an 82-game season stretch. I
No,
don't
we're
think
not
so.
talking about that. He's
That's
saying
what-
that
that is
we don't
exactly
have
what
a
we're talking
player
about.
that can go on a hot streak. We absolutely do.
When you think about it,
We
you
do,
guys
and
are
it'll
arguing,
probably
but your
happen
prediction
1
is
week
6
through the
games
That's
apart.
cool.
But
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
count
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the players to do it consistently? No, these
You're saying
players
no.
are like streaky players.
You're
bro.
saying no, and I'm saying it's possible. You have no leg to stand on. You're saying no to a bunch
and
of
neither
things
do you.
I'm saying it's
You're
possible.
standing on the leg of he has the ability. Everyone has the fucking ability. You're professional
All right, guys,
athletes.
let us-
Boy, I
let us
cannot
know.
You're
wait
standing
to
on
reference
JP's right
this
leg.
episode.
Let us
I
know what you
cannot
guys
wait
think.
to reference
Let us know what
this.
you guys think in the comments.
man.
Hit that like, subscribe, comment button, all that good stuff. Share the crap out of this video because we know you love us.
You
Whose side you on? Whose side are you on?
Let us know. What do you think the Knicks record is going to be, and is it going to be indicative of how good or bad they are through the season?
Go ahead and roast this man, man.
Let
This
us
guy in my
know.
face.
I'm gonna smile just like this at the end of the season.